6:30 p.m. and we do have a quorum. We're going to open up this meeting of the Lewisville City Council workshop session. First up, we have discussion of regular agenda items and the consent agenda items. Council, if you wouldn't mind opening your packets. I've got Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Meredith with the invocation and Councilmember Cade with the pledges. All right. Public hearing, item 1. Public hearing, item 2.
You know, the PUC license changes and that's right.
I guess we could ask that in waste management. I'm not sure if we know anything about PUC licenses.
The PUC license, the changes and stuff on this?
You know anything about it?
No.
That's the only thing about that. The Public Utility Commission licensing changes?
Do they, because it talked about renewable energy and stuff, the PUC issues the permits and everything for that. Do they issue the permits for this?
I would assume so.
I would assume so, right?
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know
We can-
specifically.
Well, you need to go take 10 laps.
Sound like my wife.
I think our utilities would be the interface there. I
Right.
don't think that we actually would deal directly with the PUC.
I can tell you this, we've done a number of these now, and the process is pretty tight on what to do, and we're not gonna make those kind of mistakes on doing that. If you need a specific answer,
No.
we could get one, but we fall underneath the guidelines of all of those agencies, and believe me, we're gonna toe the line for all that stuff.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You're basically wanting to make sure they comply with all state laws?
Yes,
is that-
ma'am.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I promise you that's
Thank
gonna
you.
take place.
Just want to make sure I understood what you were doing that. Okay.
Item 3. Consent agenda, item 4. Item 5.
Question on the property boundaries for that one. How come they didn't, I guess they left off one piece north of there? Why, I guess, did they not need that little section of land kind of right next to the sign shop?
It's probably they just didn't acquire it. It
They
wasn't
didn't.
part of the acquisition.
Wasn't part of the acquisition?
Yeah.
Does the sign company own that?
No, there's, Michelle, is Michelle Berry here? I can't remember who owns that property right next to the sign company. It's not Centurion.
So this is,
I think it's a utility company, so on I-35, you've got the sign, and then right next to it, on the frontage of I-35.
It was the phone company at one time, where they had
I
all
was
the
gonna say
poles
it's a
and
utility,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's a different ownership.
Okay, just thought it was interesting they didn't take that piece of property too,
Yeah.
but.
Item 6. Item 7. Item 8. Item 9. Item 10. Item 11.
Item 11, just want to clarify that they've taken, what is it called, retracted it, withdrawn the application.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
going
I
to take
can't
no
speak.
action.
Yeah, so you won't be taking any action.
Item 12. Don't have any closed session this evening,
No. We do not.
and I did speak with the TERS members on the TERS for conversation on changing that. So none of them had any questions or issues with what we're contemplating tonight. All right.
So no closed session.
Nope.
Awesome.
Any other discussion on the agenda, or
Yeah.
go ahead and move on to
What do you
item
think we're gonna get at?
B, overview of the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Tax Credit Program.
Mayor, before we do that, I did want to introduce our new Assistant City Manager to the council. So this is Mr. Jim Prochi. He recently comes to us from Anna as the city manager there. I believe 5 years he'd been there. Before that, he had been Rowlett and various other cities. He has over 30 years experience in public services engineering. He is going to be our infrastructure guru. Jim, I didn't know if you wanted to say anything to the council.
Just so happy to be here. I'm excited. I can't wait to hit the ground running. I start March 1st, and I've already bought a house, and we'll close on
Lewisville.
April 10th.
Just watch out for that woman sitting next to you.
Oh, I know her.
Okay, I know you. That's why we need to have a conversation.
So was that you playing that guitar on weekend, or was that somebody else?
No, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Good to know.
we need to chat.
That's a gig for you.
Well, welcome to the team. Glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to item B.
I guess I'm hogging the mouse for you, aren't I? The mouse for you. Mouse, or do you want me to do it?
All right, so last year, I gave you all a brief presentation about PFCs, and then we also talked about tax credits as well. So today, I still wanted to stay high level about tax credits, but I wanted to give a little bit more information than we did last time, since you'll be seeing these projects come forward to you. So again, just a brief overview. The tax credit program was created by the IRS code back in the 80s. The Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, TDHCA, is the only entity authorized to allocate tax credits under the program in Texas. And then each year, TDHCA will issue what's called a QAP, the Qualified Allocation Plan, and that's what will govern the criteria for 4% tax credits and 9% tax credits. So the benefit of this is that it offsets a portion of federal tax liability in exchange for production of or preservation of affordable housing. And again, as I mentioned, there's both 9% and 4%. One is competitive, one is non-competitive, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on the next slide. So again, some of this is probably familiar because I went over some of this last time, but I'll also hit some points that I didn't get to hit last time. So roughly 8 to 10 awards in our region, which is Region 3. Applications are received once a year, and it provides about 50 to 60% of equity for the development's hard costs. When it comes to income and rent restrictions, it's at least 30 years, and for the AMI, it's no more than 60% of the AMI. So here are a couple things that we didn't talk about last time. So the developers have access to programming that will help them make some decisions when it comes to which properties that they want to pursue. And so it's usually the developers consultants that will have this mapping system that's based off of the QAP, which is what establishes the scoring criteria for 9% and other criteria for the other types of tax credits. And so this is what they utilize to identify which properties that they're going to pursue. And this type of system doesn't take into consideration current zoning. So that's why you may see projects come before you that may not be zoned appropriately, because that's not what they're looking at. They're looking at how they can score the highest in which properties are more likely to be able to move forward to an award. So I noted a couple of the program calendar dates here. There's actually a laundry list of them, but I actually just pulled these 3 because I think those are the most applicable. So pre-applications were due January, then full applications are due March 1st, and then awards will be in July. I wanted to also know that before pre-applications are submitted, the developer is also required to provide notice to the mayor and the city council, in addition to 2 other entities. So this is probably why back in January you were receiving multiple emails about different projects is because even if they hadn't made it all the way through yet, through our process and determining whether or not staff supports a project moving forward or not, they didn't want to miss this date, because once they miss it, that's it. They have to meet this pre-application date. So what I intend to do for this year, or at the end of this year, I intend to establish some type of guidelines for the time period when we're going to accept applications, maybe leaving some flexibility in case there are some extenuating circumstances, but we don't want it to happen like kind of did this year, where some of the requests we were receiving pretty late in the game and you were already receiving some emails. So points. So I noted here what the points are associated with the municipality: 17 points for support, 14 points for no objection, and then there's 1 point for commitment of development funding. So you will likely see those, as you will tonight, in some of the items. So the $500 is just the commitment of development funding. That's the minimum. So you'll likely see the minimum. It'll likely be the 500. There are a few others that I'll note. There's a laundry list of them, but there are other criterias for points. So take into consideration size and quality of the units, the income, rent levels, supportive services, points associated with the municipality as well as with the state representative, financial feasibility of the project, extended affordability, those types of things. So there's a whole list of different criterias, and there are points associated with each one of them. And that's how using this mapping system, the developer will then be able to identify which projects they think will be able to move forward versus not. So as I mentioned earlier, 9% tax credits are pretty competitive. So I'm just going to take 2022 for example. So there are about 221 pre-applications. Full applications, there were only 86, and then only 32 for final awards. And this is for all of Texas urban areas. So when you drill down to just our region, which is Region 3, you'll see pre-applications, it was 69 submissions. Full applications was only 21, and then there were only 9 final awards in 2022.
I think it's important there to note that maybe you were about to say this about why they fall off between the two.
Yes, so they're looking at how the projects are scoring against each other, so they'll get a good idea of whether or not their projects will make it or not. And in some cases, even though they're able to move forward and the city may be in support, they may pull it off on their own just because they know that they're not going to make it, they're not going to be able to move forward to final awards.
We had another project that was similar to that we ended up, that we weren't in support of, but ended up not getting enough points. Even though I think council would have been in support of it, they pulled it because it just didn't point well with the state.
So 4%, again, those are non-competitive. The equity it provides equals about 30%, whereas in 9% it was about 40 to 50% of equity. The income restrictions are the same, 30 years, and the AMI cannot exceed 60% of the AMI. So some of the rules are similar, for instance, the notice requirements, but there's no point system here, and these projects are accepted year-round. There's 2 big differences. So the 4%, they require the governing body to have a public hearing, and then on like 9%, they have to obtain a letter of no objection from the municipality in order to be able to move forward. Whereas 9%, so you're just getting the points. If you don't get the letter, then you just don't get the points. It's still unlikely that they would be able to move forward, that their projects would score high enough, but they could move forward. With 4%, they cannot. They need that letter of no objection. So 4%, they're, again, not as competitive as 9%. So for all of Texas in 2022 applications, there are 92 applications. There are 36 withdrawn, and then final awards was 56. And then when you look at our region only, 25 applications, 7 withdrawn, and 8 final awards. So you can see just even by percentage-wise, that you have a better likelihood of obtaining a 4% tax credit than a 9% tax credit. This is something I noted last time, just to go over this again quickly. So there's 3 different periods that we talk about. There's the credit period, which is the 10 years, and that's the time period in which the taxpayer receives the tax credits. There's the 15-year, which is a requirement under the IRS, and that's the period in which the taxpayer has to provide the affordable housing. But then TDHCA, the state, they have their own requirements, and they will enforce on the property a LORA, which is a land use restrictive agreement, and that will last at least 30 years typically, or more.
I have a quick question about
Sure.
that. Are there any ways or tools that allow builders to get out of these timeframes? So they can't file some sort of appeal, or they're very strict? That's what, okay.
Yes, correct. And if you see here, when I mentioned in the 15-year period, the IRS will recapture the tax credits for violation and that do not comply with the IRS requirements. So they will recapture those. Any other questions? All right. That's all I had.
Thank you. Then if there's nothing more, we'll go ahead and close the workshop, and we'll meet back here at 7 o'clock for the regular meeting. I got mine. It is 7 o'clock, and I hereby call this meeting of the Lewisville City Council to order. Monday, February 20th. We could, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Meredith, would you mind leading us in invocation?
Please join me in a moment of silent contemplation. Thank you.
Please join me in the pledge to both American and Texas flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right. As much as the city would have loved to have maybe beat you all to it, I think you've got a few years on us. So I want to thank our team here from Lewisville High School. We are here to recognize Lewisville High School being established in 1897 in the farming community of Lewisville, Texas, one of the first dedicated high school programs in North Texas. And whereas the first Lewisville High School class in 1901 consisted of 5 students, 3 girls and 2 boys, while the 2022 graduating class included 1,154 students. And whereas Lewisville High School is widely recognized for excellence in academics, athletics, fine and performing arts, and leadership development guided by a dedicated professional staff and supported by a loyal alumni base and community. And whereas the Lewisville High School mascot, the Fighting Farmers, is known throughout Texas and beyond and reflects the rich agricultural roots of Lewisville community and its early student body. And whereas Lewisville High School proudly celebrates its 125th anniversary in 2023, as the school continues to create well-rounded graduates who are equipped with the skill and insight to thrive in a competitive global economy. Now, therefore, I, T.J. Gilmore, Mayor of the City of Lewisville and father of 3 fighting farmers, along with the members of the Lewisville City Council, do hereby proclaim February 20th, 2023 as Lewisville High School Day, and encourage all our residents of Lewisville to celebrate 125 years of LHS tradition and excellence in the long maroon line. Can I have some of our LHS folks up here to say a few words? Let's give them a hand.
Yes.
Anybody out there went through Lewisville High School? Anyone? Me too.
1901.
1908. Yes, 1908.
Principal Jim Baker, would you mind saying a few words?
Well, good evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. What an honor for our school. That is truly such a blessing to so many. It really is an amazing place. And I promise you it is that way because of the people. The kids, the staff, the overwhelming support from the community. It truly is a throwback kind of school. And it's a place I'm very proud of. I know we have here Miss Ariana Villarreal, who is our school secretary, also a 2005, right, alum. Allison Stamey, who is our student activities director, et al., right, so everything. And we have Burnett Lindemood, who is our student council co-sponsor with Miss Stamey, and also 1982 graduate, 1986 graduate. But thank you so much. I could not be more proud of our kids, and I feel very strong about our future because of the fact that we have the support of our community. You'll watch the news and you'll hear a lot of things, but if you ever want to know, please come to 1098 West Main, hang out with me, and you will see some amazing kids in this great nation of ours. So, thank you.
Thank you. Can we get a picture? Yeah. Anybody? Here.
Well, it's good if somebody's got a camera.
Oh, here comes James. Ariana, you graduated with Aubrey, my daughter, in 2005.
Folks, if you wanted to see public schools in action, just talk about the Chin community at LHS and these kids. We've got kids that literally walked through the country 900 miles, didn't know anything but agriculture, and they got on an airplane, and 3 days into being here in the United States are going through elementary school all the way to becoming doctors and PhDs is what I've seen with our latest Chin Cultural Festival that we had this weekend. It's amazing.
Which one?
And nobody but our public schools could do that for those kids. It's amazing. Oh, well, there we go. Thank you, guys. Always fun to talk about our fighting farmers. Item D, public hearing. Consideration of an ordinance amending ordinance number 2747-12-2001 as amended originally passed by the City Council on December 10th, 2001 to modify the composition of the Board of Directors of Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1, City of Lewisville, Texas, in accordance with amendments to the Tax Increment Financing Act, providing for severability and an effective date and declaring an emergency. The proposed ordinance seeks to modify the current structure of the Board of Directors for TIRZ Number 1, Lewisville, Texas, to be consistent with the structure of the other tax increment reinvestment zones of the city by eliminating the requirement that 3 of the board members must own property in the zone, removing term limits and removing staggered terms for the initial board members. To adopt the amendment and implement the proposed changes, state law requires that the governing body consider and adopt an ordinance during a public hearing at a regular City Council meeting. It's recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above. We do have Marichelle Samples available for questions, our Director of Economic Development. Council, if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Passes 6-0. Council, entertain a motion to approve the ordinance.
Move to approve the ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to set forth as in the caption. City Attorney.
This is an ordinance amending ordinance number 2747-12-2001 as amended, originally passed by the City Council on December 10th, 2001, to modify the composition of the Board of Directors of Tax Increment Zone Number 1, City of Lewisville, Texas, in accordance with amendments to the Tax Increment Financing Act, providing for severability and an effective date and declaring an emergency.
Council, if you please vote. Item passes 6-0. Item 2, public hearing, consideration of an ordinance granting a zone change from specific use landfill accessory uses district zoning to specific use landfill operations and accessory uses district zoning with a modified engineering site plan on approximately 15 acres legally described as Lot 1, Block A, DFW Recycling and Disposal Facility located at 1601 Railroad Street as requested by Jason Potter, Wallace Design Collective on behalf of Waste Management Renewable Energy LLC, the property owner. Case number 22-10-5-Z. Waste Management proposes to convert the existing methane capture facility to a system that produces liquid natural gas by changing out equipment inside existing structures on the site. The extent of the changes warrants the submission of a modified engineering site plan that serves as the exhibit to the zone change request. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval 6-0 on January 3rd of 2023. It is recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance and modified engineering site plan as set forth in the caption above. We do have our planning department here, as well as we have Mr. Steve Keller, who would like to say a few words on item 2. Actually does not wish to speak, but he's available for questions. He is Waste Management's representative this evening. Council, if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion passes 6-0. Council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance and the modified site plan.
Motion to approve the ordinance and modified engineering site plan as set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. City Attorney?
This is an ordinance of the Lewisville City Council amending the zoning ordinance by rezoning approximately 15 acres, legally described as Lot 1, Block A, DFW Recycling and Disposal Facility, generally located at 1601 Railroad Street, from specific use landfill accessory uses district zoning to specific use landfill operations and accessory uses district zoning, with a modified engineering site plan, correcting the official zoning map, preserving all other portions of the zoning ordinance, determining that the zoning amendment herein made promotes the health, safety, and general welfare of the city, providing for a repealer, severability, a penalty, and an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
Council, if you'd please vote. Motion passes 6-0. And folks, for those of you who don't know, the landfill gas powers roughly 15,000 homes in North Texas. So it's a great type of reuse project that they put together on these landfills when they get to this point. So thank you, Waste Management and the team, for bringing this all. Let's go ahead and move on. Item 3, public hearing, consideration of the adoption of the Healthy Infrastructure Plan. An update to the current Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Master Plan was approved by the City Council and subsequently Texas Parks and Wildlife Department in March 2018. Per TPWD guidelines to maintain eligibility for park development grants, the plan must be renewed every 10 years and updated every 5 years or when a significant change impacts city operations and service delivery. In October 2021, the Parks and Recreation Department began working on the development of a Healthy Infrastructure Plan. It's a 3-pronged master plan development that includes parks, trails, and the urban tree canopy. The proposed plan was developed with extensive community engagement, analysis of the current park system, and assessment of future needs based on stakeholder input, trends, and best practices. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and Planning and Zoning Commission voted to support the proposed plan on January 11th, 2023. It is recommended that the City Council adopt the Healthy Infrastructure Plan as presented in the caption above, and we do have our Director of Parks and Recreation, Ms. Stacy Anaya, available for questions. Council, if there are no questions and no public comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Well, I actually do have a quick comment before I make the motion. I do want to say we are required to do this Parks and Open Space update. This is well beyond what we're required to do. This plan is something that I'm really proud of, and I think staff should be extremely proud of. This is the new thing, and we're out in front, and I'm just really, really proud for Lewisville to be out in front on this. So with that, I will move to close the public hearing.
I second what she said. You went way over and above what was necessary, but very much appreciated, and it helps set the standard.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote to close the public hearing. Motion passes 6-0. Council, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the Healthy Infrastructure Plan as presented.
I move to adopt a healthy infrastructure plan as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. City Attorney? Oh, got overboard. That's okay. That's why we have Julie here. Council, please vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Parks Department. Thank you, staff, for all the work. Item E, Visitor Citizens Forum. Speakers must address their comments to the mayor rather than to individual council members or staff. Speakers should speak clearly and state their name and address prior to beginning their remarks. Speakers will be allowed 5 minutes for testimony. Speakers making personal, impertinent, profane, or slanderous remarks may be removed from the meeting. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, clapping, and similar demonstrations will not be permitted. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the City Council is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Action can only be taken at a future meeting. I do have a request to speak at Citizens Forum from Mr. Gordon Jones. Mr. Jones, if you would please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Gordon Jones, address 305 Oak Trail Drive, Double Oak, Texas. And I apologize, I'm going to try and do the best. I just started this about 2 hours ago. My name is Gordon Jones. My father, Chesley H. Jones, fought in World War II, participated in the Battle of the Bulge. He helped defeat Nazi Germany. He helped defeat a regime that killed over 6 million of my Jewish brethren. Myself, I've spent the last 2 years worth of Sundays protesting a church in Watauga that openly calls for the execution of all gay people. That would be Steadfast Baptist Church that was recently evicted from their third location. We have here and now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area people flying the Nazi flag in public. I have been to their protests and have seen them with my own eyes, most recently in December of last year in North Dallas. They are not ashamed and they are not afraid. They are wanting to take away the rights of already marginalized people, Jews, non-heteronormative persons, African-American persons, Asian Pacific Islanders, women, and other minorities. This is how fascism began in 1933 in Nazi Germany. Please familiarize yourself with the poem by Martin Niemöller, a prominent Lutheran pastor in Germany prior to the rise of the Third Reich. In this poem, Mr. Niemöller, a staunch anti-Semite and Hitler supporter, expressed his regret and remorse for being silent and therefore complicit in the midst of the persecution of those that he deemed less than himself. After the war, he wrote many versions of this poem, but they all followed the same basic formula. Here is the original. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, for I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, but I did not speak out, for I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, but I did not speak out, for I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Mr. Niemöller was referring to his time in the Sachsenhausen and Dachau concentration camps, where he spent a combined total of 7 years and narrowly escaped execution for finally speaking out. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor, given just a pinch of empathy and dash of imagination, some of us might see ourselves in Mr. Niemöller's shoes, full of regret and remorse. And so this would be an excellent time to decide not to have his regret and remorse, and an excellent opportunity to speak up. I'm asking that this city, and at the very least, make a token public statement or proclamation that they denounce Nazis, or that they denounce fascism, or both. This should be easy. And the longer we wait, the more like Mr. Niemöller we all risk becoming. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. City Secretary, do we have any other visitor citizen forum requests? Item F, consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so request. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card or e-comment must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. Do we have any comments or speaker cards?
No, none other than the ones no, so we do not.
Gotcha. Thank you. Council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Council, if you please vote. Consent agenda passes 6-0. G, regular hearing, item 10, consideration of the Second Amendment to an Economic Development Agreement between the City of Lewisville and Deck on Main, LLC, and authorization for the city manager or her designee to execute the Second Amendment. Deck on Main, LLC, purchased the .334 acre tract at the northeast corner of Charles Street and Main Street from the city in accordance with the Economic Development Agreement executed on May 12, 2021. The First Amendment was ratified by the City Council on July 19, 2021. The developer has requested a Second Amendment to the agreement to 1, extend the commencement of construction date due to their inability to obtain the surety bonds. 2, extend the substantial completion date due to delays in construction. 3, remove the payment and performance bond requirements. And 4, establish lease payments not to exceed $24,000 a year to $2,000 a month for maintenance, operation, management, and taxes related to the public restrooms. It's recommended that the City Council approve the Second Amendment to the Economic Development Agreement and authorize the city manager or her designee to execute the Second Amendment as set forth in the caption above.
Mayor, I need to recuse myself from this item.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. There are no questions. Council, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the Second Amendment to the Economic Development Agreement and authorize the city manager or her designee to execute the Second Amendment as set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you would please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Councilmember Green, we can have you back. Item 11, consideration of a resolution of support for an application for competitive 9% housing tax credits for the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for State Highway 121 Living, proposed mixed income living development by Palladium USA International Incorporated in Riva, Switzerland, to be located at the northeast corner of State Highway 121 and Shelby Drive. Palladium USA International Incorporated and Riva, Switzerland are requesting city support of their application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for competitive 9% housing tax credits. These tax credits provide the financial mechanism that would allow for future construction of a mixed income multifamily development at the northeast corner of State Highway 121 and Shelby Drive. This resolution only provides the city's support of their tax credit application, which increases Palladium and Riva's likelihood of receiving the tax credit. A separate zoning request must be submitted for the property and will be reconsidered by City Council at a future date if the tax credits are awarded. Palladium USA has withdrawn their application associated with this item. City staff does recommend that no action be taken. There have been a number of comments received from the public in opposition to this item. We had 9. These comments will be included in the minutes and the backup information maintained for this meeting, but we are not going to be taking action on item 11. Item 12, consideration of a resolution of support for an application for competitive 9% housing tax credits from the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for 305 East Round Grove Living, proposed mixed income living development by Palladium USA International Incorporated and Riva, Switzerland, to be located at 305 East Round Grove Drive. Palladium USA International Incorporated and Riva, Switzerland are requesting city support of their application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for competitive 9% housing tax credits. These tax credits provide the financial mechanism that will allow for future construction of a mixed income multifamily development at 305 East Round Grove. This resolution only provides the city's support for their tax credit application, which increases their chances of receiving the tax credit. A separate zoning request must be submitted for the property and will be considered by City Council at a future date if the tax credits are awarded. It's recommended that the City Council consider the resolution of support as set forth in the caption above. Council, we do have Palladium USA International here. They would like to speak in support. Avis Chison and Elizabeth Dykeman and Benjamin Heflin. My apologies for messing up any of those names, or all of them.
Good evening, Mayor Gilmore, members of the Lewisville City Council. My name is Avis Shashan. I am the Executive Director of Real Estate Development with Palladium USA, 1344455 Noel Road, Dallas, Texas, 75240. Pleasure to be here with you this evening to present this mixed income development in Lewisville. Perfect. Now that our technology is working with us. Let's see. So on tonight we're here. This is Mayor Shell Samples, your Director of Economic Development, during your council workshop. Did an eloquent job of talking about the process for 9% housing tax credit development, which 305 East Round Grove Living is a proposed 9% competitive housing tax credit development. So this is step one in the process. We are here tonight to seek a resolution of support from City Council and a de minimis contribution of the $500 in fee waivers. This is just a sample rendering of a development that we have done in the past, a 4-story design, which we are proposing at 305 East Round Grove. Just to give you a little bit about Palladium, we are part of the Palladium Group, which is a privately owned worldwide global real estate development company. We have a history of owning, developing and managing assets in 6 different countries. Our headquarters is based in Milan, Italy. It's a family-owned Rancilio family. The owner comes and visits quite frequently. He actually walks the properties and is very meticulous about his developments. We are self-managed. Most other developers in our industry, they do third-party property management, which is different for us. We feel like we can manage our properties. No one can manage them better than us. So we do have in-house property management. We will be a long-term owner of this asset. We do value ourselves in having exceptional quality in architecture and construction, and then we also value our partnerships with the city, with local communities, and we're actually very involved in the community. So just a little bit about the Palladium USA. We were established in the early 90s. Our headquarters is in Dallas. We actually office out of the Galleria, and the flagship property for the company is right across the street. It's been in the portfolio for over 20 years. We do have an experienced executive team. I am a member of the executive team. We have a proven track record in construction, real estate development, property management, and I actually have a municipal background as well. We have a strong balance sheet. We have a very diverse portfolio. We've developed multifamily, high-rise, luxury high-rise, workforce housing, independent senior living, and what we're proposing today is for families in a mixed income community. So throughout the state of Texas, 6,000 units developed, and we have about another 3,800 units in what we call in development, which we consider this development in that process. So we're working towards getting our approvals. So primarily in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but we do have assets in Port Aransas, we have Midland, and now hopefully your great city of Lewisville. So these are a sample of our developments. I did mention our flagship property, Verona. In the middle, you can see Palladium Redbird, which is a development in Dallas. It's a 4% housing tax credit development, so coupled with private activity bonds. We also were a fee developer for Legacy 29 in Plano. And then Palladium Van Alstyne is a senior 9% housing tax credit development in Grayson County. And then we were also developed Canal Side Lofts in Irving. So you can see a breadth of experience in our portfolio, and I say you cannot tell the difference between our workforce housing developments or our luxury assets as well. So this is our Redbird development. This is another 4-story design. What we offer, a resort-style pool. We'll have a state-of-the-art fitness center, a club room that will be outfitted with high-speed Wi-Fi. We'll also have a business lab with printers and computers for our residents to use. In the club room, we'll offer different services. We host financial literacy classes. We also have a dedicated pantry for our residents to use. We'll have a children's playroom. And then we'll also have walking trails and dog park on our property as well, and as well as picnic and barbecue grills. So these are actual photos of our Redbird development. You can see a very spacious clubhouse with billiards table, coffee bar. You can see our state-of-the-art fitness center, and then the business lab with computers and printers and a little table for our residents to use as well. Here's the children's playroom. It's very interactive. You can see video consoles. Actually, the tiles, they are very interactive. When you walk on them, they change colors. The children's playground, so very community-oriented and designed for families. A picture of our interior. It's very open. We do granite countertops, nice high 9-foot ceilings. We also have stainless steel appliance package, kitchen island, washer and dryer connections. Each unit will have a patio or balcony with storage, which is very nice for families, and very energy efficient as well, with ceiling fans, and our appliances are energy efficient. Just more pictures of our interior. You can see dual vanities even in the bathroom, and granite countertops in our bathroom. We have wood style flooring throughout. We do not do carpets in any of our units for long-term sustainability for us as an owner, but for our residents as well. So the site in particular, 305 East Brown Grove, is actually what we really love. It's in Council District 3. It's close to a business park, retail right across the street, close to transit. It's very daycare next door, which is great also for our families, urgent care. There's also a Walmart and a park. So very nice amenities surrounding the property as well. So we are proposing approximately 91 apartment homes. It's on 2.7 acres. It does require a zoning change. So again, this is the first step in the process. We will have to come back before you for a zoning change. But tonight we are asking for your approval of the resolution of support. This is our proposed preliminary site plan. We are proposing 4 stories. It would be elevator served. What is really nice about our developments, they're not your traditional garden style, they're interior corridor. So the units for our families will be on the interior and they'll access the building with a key fob. It will also have a perimeter fence, which is accessed by a key fob, and we'll have a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. And we're looking at approximately $25 million investment for the area. So who are our residents? We're catering to your hardcore, your working class family, your first responders, your police officers, firefighters, teachers and nurses and other medical technicians, your service workers, retirees on a fixed income, so seniors can live here as well, and widow or widowers or veterans. So this is a housing that's mixed income for your residents that they can be able to afford. So not being priced out of their homes. They're not paying more than 30% of their income, which a lot of people are struggling to pay rent right now. So this will be a nice opportunity for them to stay and keep housing in the city of Lewisville. This is just more photos, your warehouse workers, your service industry workers as well, recent graduates, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers would also qualify for these units. So this, again, I mentioned mixed income housing. So we'll have a mix of below market rate and then traditional market rate unrestricted units. So 64% at the below market and then 36% at true market rate. A mix, again, of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom and 745 to 1,150 square feet for the 3 bedroom. So very nice sized units. I did include the household income and rent levels for those who would qualify for the 30% units, which we'll have 6 of. So for a household of 4, you're looking at a $29,220 gross annual income to provide housing, with a rent for a 1 bedroom at $548. And then it goes all the way. This will be what they call income averaged. So we'll have units that are at 70% AMI and 80% AMI. But like Marichelle said, the income cannot go over 60% AMI. And then we'll have the market rate units as well, for a total of 91. So I am going to stop here. I'm going to let Elizabeth handle the community outreach piece because she and Ben have done a lot of legwork to get us to this point. I do want to take the time to thank Claire and Marichelle, Ashley, and Richard because they have been great at meeting with us, answering all of our questions, and walking us through this process. So I want to definitely take the time to thank them for helping us with where we are. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Good evening, Mayor Gilmore. My name is Elizabeth Deitcheman, 13355 Noel Road, Dallas 75240. I work with a developer, Palladium, and I covered community outreach for this development. And I spoke with a lot of the surrounding businesses and was overwhelmed with support for this development. The nearby Walmart manager, his name is Sanine, and he shared with me his concern that his employees are moving to Bedford and having to commute into Lewisville for work, which is not sustainable for his staff. He was passionate about his employees needing a high-quality housing option near their job. There's a newly constructed Sager Electronics right next to that Walmart, and I had a chance to speak with the VP, Don Fitcher and Colton Miller, who said that 305 East Round Grove Living is an ideal housing location for their warehouse employees. The Vista Park Shopping Center next door has provided a signed letter of support, as you can see on the screen. And they're very happy about the possibility that they'll be able to lease up their many vacant spaces faster. The existing retailers that they have within their space, such as Elwood Staffing, Sports Clips, Allstate, Pet Supplies Plus, all communicated support to me. And the GM of Pet Supplies Plus, David, signed a support letter, which I have with me and will share with you all. There were several other nearby establishments, such as Child Time Children's Center, the daycare nearby, Coral Reef Coffee Company, and Empire Finance that expressed excitement about this proposed development. Additionally, we have received a letter of support from Serve Denton, which is a nonprofit that provides supportive services in this area. And they are in the location where this proposed development is, and they're very supportive, and I have a letter from them as well to share with you. And we also held 2 community meetings and notified surrounding neighbors of those community meetings. From what I gathered while talking with these neighbors, the community is well aware that there's a huge need for workforce housing, and I can confidently tell you that there's a welcoming presence for this beautiful property at the northeast corner of East Round Grove Road and Euchre Drive. I respectfully ask that you support this development for a resolution of support. Thank you. Can I?
And good evening, Benjamin Heflin with Palladium as well. Happy President's Day. I work with Avis on the development side. And I really just wanted to reiterate a couple things that were brought up today. 3 things really. The first is out of the strength of the development. As you saw in some of the photos and the amenities, we are really trying to provide here a quality Class A home that our residents can be proud of. Avis did mention you can really see no difference when you look at our portfolio, any difference between a true market rate Class A property and the development that we're providing just at a rent discounted to our workforce here. Another one I want to highlight is that we do manage our properties, as Avis brought out, and I think that really sets us apart as a developer and as a management company, because we are now invested in keeping our property clean and safe because we own it and we have self-management on site. So there's no way that within a couple of years that the community, the development that we are trying to build is going to fall into disrepair. It's not something that everyone won't be proud of. It won't become an eyesore. The second thing I want to highlight is out of the due diligence that we've done as a company, and Elizabeth just spoke to this, that it matters to us to go out and meet with the surrounding community of the development that we want to build. We don't just want to shove our property there much to the hatred of everyone surrounding it. And the support we've received for this property in particular off of Round Grove has really been outstanding and tells us that there is a need. And that's third and finally what I want to highlight is the need for this here. We're providing a home for residents that they can be proud of, that they can want to invite their family in or extended family in to host for dinner. And I really think that that's really important to keep in mind, that with our goal, it doesn't stop at 90 units, but that's a start. And with 90 units, it's our goal that we can keep some of the proud workforce of Lewisville here, living within Lewisville, that they don't have to move away, and that we can be a great addition to our city. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Council, is there any questions?
I have some questions. On the outreach, do you have some homes around there and you have townhomes close? What citizens turned out for that meeting?
And actually, I'm going to let Elizabeth speak because she attended the neighborhood meetings. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
So behind this property is a rental community of houses, and we sent out notifications to all the surrounding property owners. There were no owners that showed up in opposition.
The townhomes that are nearby, are they close enough to get this?
It was within 200 feet.
Okay. Okay, so no one showed, you haven't received any opposition?
There was a car wash owner that showed up for the first meeting. His property is right next door. Oh, no residential. Nope. Thank you.
I also have a couple questions, Mayor. So there were no objections from anybody about this at all? I just want to make sure I understand that.
That's correct, not for this particular site.
Okay.
Only support.
Secondly, and this is just a note, I went through and I was looking up on through Google the different properties. Most of them look great, lots of good reviews. You may want to check out Redbird. That happened to be the first one I looked at, and there's some terrible reviews out there. That tainted me negatively because that happened to be the first one I looked at, but the rest all look fantastic. So.
Thank you. And I can speak to that. Redbird has the demand for this type of housing is great. And Redbird was a transformative project for Southwest Dallas. And a lot of the negative reviews come from people wanting to be able to get in, but they can't. Or because we hold our residents to a higher standard. They have to be a good neighbor. So we strictly enforce our leases. And so that's another one, because we want to, again, be a good neighbor. We want to keep our properties clean, and it comes from our strong property management, which we have a fabulous property manager at Redbird, and they host great events for our residents.
Thank you for clarification. Appreciate it.
Sure.
And just a comment. You had a list of reviews. One of the people that I know is Casey Thomas, the council member who's over Redbird down there, and he said that they're outstanding. So I just want to share that with everybody.
Oh, thank you.
I would say that with any of these types of projects, it's really not so much the project as it is the property management. Right. And we see that in our development here. We have outstanding places that have almost always outstanding property management. So appreciate that.
Do y'all have an officer on site that lives there?
We do, and I'm glad you said that, yes. We do work with local law enforcement to provide a unit free of charge, and in turn, they walk the properties, they check the fencing, they check the lighting, they work with our neighbors. Actually, on some of our larger developments, we actually have two.
Okay, and you handle all your own noise disturbances for the most part?
The courtesy officer will, unless it gets out of...
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
If there are no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the resolutions of support as set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you for your time.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate it.
Item H, reports. Reports about items of community interest regarding which no action will be taken. Councilmember Meredith, mind if we start with you?
Mayor, I've got some library activities for the week. After hours teen game night for teens aged 13 to 18, Friday, February 24th, 6:30 to 9. Registration is required at the Lewisville Public Library now through the east doors. Every Monday through April 10th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. by appointment only, Crawford Meeting Room. Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, VITA, for adults every Thursday through April 13th, 5 to 7:30 p.m. Assistance provided on a first-come, first-served basis at the computer lab. That's all I've got.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Troyer?
Yes, I have several things from the Lewisville Grand Theater. First of all, performances coming up. On February 24th, we have the Unstoppable Belly Laughs Tour, presenting Tanya Lee Davis and Shelley Belly. I understand this is going to be a fabulous belly laugh performance. Then secondly, on February 24th through the 26th, there will be 4 performances of School of Rock, the musical, presented by the Christian Youth Theater of DFW. Then on February 26th, we'll have the Black Box Songwriter Series, Drew Kennedy and Josh Grider, presented by the City of Lewisville. And as always, on Friday nights, 6 to 9, the Acoustic Jam Sessions presented by the Visual Art League of Lewisville. And then there's activities going on, 2 activities going on February 25th. The songwriting workshop featuring Drew Kennedy and Josh Grider, presented by the City of Lewisville. And that same evening, there is a free musical theater workshop for adults presented by Our Productions Theater Company. And then art exhibitions going on. LISD High School Art Exhibition presented by the LISD will run February 24th through March 18th. And then the Visual Art League of Lewisville is presenting A Slice of Life. That will be February 25th through April 1st. And that is all.
Thank you, sir. City Attorney? City Secretary? Officer, thank you. Anything from development? HR? Parks?
Mayor, I'd just like to tell you that the lake level is at 522.07, which is less than an inch above the normal pool level. And that really makes me wonder how they measure that. That's pretty precise. Maybe next meeting I'll have a report on that.
There we go. There we go.
Mayor, Council, Lewisville residents, I'd like to make mention that we will be holding a neighborhood grants workshop tomorrow at the library. So if you're interested in grants that assist with exterior home repairs or neighborhood improvement projects, we'll tell you all about it tomorrow in the Lewisville Public Library Crawford Meeting Room from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Outstanding. Thank you. Chief? Councilmember Green?
I just wanted to quickly mention that we do have an adoption event going on, the Looking for Love, and we're running an adoption special on dogs over 20 pounds. It was free, right? Which is a normal $90 adoption fee. So they've got lots of love to give. So go find a new baby.
Councilmember Jones?
So just to add on to what our Neighborhood Services Director said, we're talking about the programs which will be given every month. They'll talk about the PEP program where you can get 50% matching grant. It'll talk about the Love Your Block where you can get a $500 reimbursable mini grant to do a project in your neighborhood, and the Neighborhood Enhancement Program, which gives a matching grant to up to $12,500. So go check that out and get your house upgraded. That's all I have, sir.
Councilmember Kate?
Yeah, I just want to put out there, seeing how this is the 125th anniversary of my great school, that we have, where's James? We have the History of Lewisville Schools exhibit Monday through Friday. right over here at the Grand, or at the event? The visitor information, thank you. And you notice I did call for him first. But that's going to be very interesting, so please go see it if you have a chance to, and see how far we've come, because we've come a long way.
City Manager?
I'm just going to take the executive privilege and say hi to my oldest daughter who's sitting in the back row. That's all I have.
Gotcha. Two brief things. Number one, we had an amazing Chin festival this past weekend. Folks, the Chin community, for those of you who don't know, are persecuted Burmese Chin. They basically are persecuted because of their faith. These, as I mentioned before, many of these stories are of children who have hiked 900 plus miles as being their earliest memories, and coming to the United States and then ending up within our school system. I can't say enough about what our public schools can do for people. It's an amazing thing what our community has been able to do. The Chin account for just over 8% of our population. There are roughly 15 churches throughout DFW that support that community, and they are growing by leaps and bounds. We're very excited to have them and have their resources. And this year we will be putting an art sculpture in to celebrate them. So we're very excited to have that piece of the community and have that kind of a celebration. I also want to mention, because we talked a little bit about water this Saturday, and I don't know if it's full or not, but we have a workshop that I have been looking forward to for quite some time called the Roots for Wings workshop. So if you are interested in how to get a little more water wise, how to plant native landscaping, and how to have all sorts of great birds and bees and critters in your yard without having to maintain it like you might have to do some other stuff, this is a great way to look about it. I'll be there, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to maybe transform some yards and give people back a little bit more of their time. So with that, we do not have any closed session. There is no further action to be taken on the agenda. We are adjourned.